Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, I create videos and content about toxic, narcissistically abusive relationships. If you have a question that you would like for me to answer, make sure you send it to justaskmatt at MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt at MattPfeifferCoaching.com. Just make sure you keep the email 2 to 3 paragraphs max, and you're also very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. If it's too long, if it's too lengthy, unfortunately, I will not be able to get to it. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe notification, and you also hit the bell notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos on this channel 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. With all that being said, let's get into today's email. So this email comes from a person who has been dating someone for a short period of time, but started to notice some red flags and is wondering what they should do about them, and is wondering if this is something that they should really consider walking away from. So let's get into today's email. So this email reads, "Hey Matt, I have been dating this guy for about 4 months, and I'll admit we should have taken things much slower. Always a big red flag, right? Speed. When we're talking about toxic, narcissistically abusive relationships, we need to go slow, right? To prevent them, we need to go slow. Time plus boundaries always reveals character. Time plus boundaries always reveals character." So let's get back into this. We just experienced our first big fight that has potentially ended the relationship. I wanted to communicate with him about some red flag behaviors to gain reassurance before diving deeper into the relationship. He's been in and out of work, always complaining about physical ailments, inconsistent sleep patterns, and says he loves me more than anything, but doesn't seem to make an effort to see me, although he will text me all day, every day. These are some of the reasons why we go slow, because now we have to understand that I don't care how hot they are. I don't care how much money they make, how tall they are. I don't care if she's a baddie. I don't care about any of that stuff that people talk about on social media. It takes a long time, a very long time, to get to know people. And a lot of times people will say or tell me or other coaches and other clinicians, well, they said that they blah, 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 blah. I don't care what they say. And here's the reason why I say I don't care what they say, is because the reality of it is that a lot of people don't even know themselves. It's the reason why you hear people talking, as myself included, talking so much about self-awareness, because we have a responsibility to communicate a lot of these things to our partner. But even then, a lot of us, even with having a lot of self-awareness, it's still our partner's responsibility to learn about us as well. And this is also the reason why we need to go slow, right? So then we take our time to get to know people. I tell people to read people not like a resume, but to read people like a book, right? Slowly, page after page, read it chapter after chapter, because resumes have bullet points. Book, you get all the details, right? And so what's happening is that 4 months later, you're getting all the details of who this person is. He might be hot, right? He might be great in bed, all that kind of stuff, right? But now we're getting the details of who this person is and whether or not we can or cannot build a relationship with this person, right? So let's get back into this. So this email reads, I told him through text I wanted to see him to talk about everything, and he ignored me, right? Again, we're getting to the details, the nitty gritty of who this person is. And these are the type of things that, let's fast forward this, let's roll this tape down 10 years down the road, right? Because this is the type of stuff that people don't pay attention to in the beginning stages, right? All they're worried about, oh, they're this tall and they make this amount of money and they're great in bed, right? As long as they hit the big three, everyone thinks that everything's going to be okay, right? As long as they're charismatic, as long as they're this. But then we start to peel back some of these layers, right? They're a bad communicator, right? We have this person that's ignoring text messages, right? Can't consistently hold down a job. And then a lot of times people will continue down this path, right? Let's continue with this email. Then his mother texted me stating, I'm hurting her son's feelings. So think about that. He's not talking to you. Mom is calling you on his behalf. Last I checked, you guys were both adults, right? We're only 4 months in, right? Imagine how much mom would be involved if you guys were married, had kids, a house, all those sorts of things, right? So let's get back into this. Then his mother messaged me stating that I'm hurting her son's feelings, attacking him, and being insensitive to his mental health. I'm not sure what mental health issues he has, if he has ADHD or anything else, any other diagnosis, but we should always be aware of our partner's mental health status, which I just wanted to express my feelings from some behaviors that I observed. So think about this for a second. If your concern, if your feelings are causing this person to ignore you, go to their mother, right, and causing them to like walk away, and you mentioned that this potentially could have ended the relationship. Think about this for a second. If we really actually want to be with a partner, we have to remember, right, it's not about all the good things on the top, right? We have to understand that all relationships have their downside, right? Healthy relationships do. Healthy relationships require disagreements. So if a simple disagreement about feelings, talk about feelings, leads to someone ignoring you, lack of communication, going to their mom, you're afraid of this person ending things, what is that going to lead to down the road when you do have to talk about eventually talking about the kids and mortgages and other things that are going to apply more pressure to the relationship, right? These are the type of things that people have to begin to take with more concern when they're in this type of situation. But the only thing that everyone's worried about is whether or not they're hot or not, how much money they make, right? But the things that people are not worried about are a lot of this other stuff, right? And so let's get back into this. He then told me he was done with the relationship and he would never set a boundary with his mother, right? So obviously the mother was already concerned before you even sent this email, right? And this was a consistent theme. I'm not sure if they're a narcissist or not. I don't care if they're a narcissist. Right? A lot of times people will ask me about, well, how do I know for sure that someone's a narcissist? How do I know that for sure whether or not they're toxic? It doesn't matter. In this type of situation, it doesn't matter, right? One of the things that you said, let me just finish this last statement, then I'm going to get back to what I was saying. But it's confusing. I feel hurt as well now. It's not confusing, right? The reason why it's confusing to you is that you're not accepting the information that you have right here in front of you. What I tell people a lot of times is that we know we have the answers. A lot of times we don't want to accept the answers that we have, right? We have a person that you're seeing that when you need to talk about things that are serious, right, ducks out on the relationship completely, leaves, runs to his mom. He's out of work, and all of the other red flags that you were talking about, right? So the question is that someone that we can begin to build with, right? He's flaking on all of his other responsibilities. What would make us think that he would not flake out on you eventually? And a lot of times the reason why we are confused, as you said, the reason why we won't accept the information that we have, the data that we have on this person, right, is because we think that it's a bad reflection on ourselves if we don't make the relationship work, right? We feel like this comes back to our own insecurities, our own lack of self-worth, our own lack of self-esteem, that if we don't make this work because this person is so hot, that must mean that I'm worthless. And that's not true. But that's the reason why we do this. So we have to begin to accept that this person is who he is. And if you move forward with this relationship, understand that all these red flags that you're talking about, that you're seeing, are going to continue down the line, right? If you think that you're going to change him, even his mama ain't changing him, right? So you have to really consider this and forget, and who cares if this person is a narcissist or not? Right? A lot of times people get caught up in the title, and they get caught up in the label. Again, the reason why they do, and I'm someone who talks about narcissism, right? And the reason why people get caught up on the labels is because then they can say like, well, they were a narcissist, and so they can wash their hands of it, right? But it doesn't matter. You have, even if he's not, right? And I'm not sure if he is or not based on the email, right? But there's enough here to identify, right, that there's some issues here, right? And even if there aren't issues for other people, these are issues for you, and that's all that matters, and that's what self-validation looks like. So thank you very much for writing in. Anyone else who has a question that you would like for me to answer, make sure you send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Again, that is justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Just make sure you keep that email 2 to 3 paragraphs max, and you're also very direct and to the point of what your question actually is. If it's too long, if it's too lengthy, unfortunately, I will not be able to get to it. Also, make sure you hit the subscribe notification. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you comment down below, give me a like, let me know. And with all that being said, thank you guys very much, and I will see you in the next video.